make this one for people so people could sit and wait for me to show up. So that'd be one where people kind of drop in right before I leave. Anyway, talk a little bit about. I think yesterday I wasn't going to talk about politics at all, but I really think that it's kind of imperative right now. Yesterday was kind of I guess, an interesting day. And I am really sort of like shocked, I think, that people aren't necessarily still kind of like, they're not seeing what's really going on. Here's what's really going on. The establishment, it's not just the left, the establishment itself has, okay, Mike Pence didn't care about doing the right thing, and he had constitutional recourse to send the ballots back to the states for audit. He could have given the votes a 10-day audit. He totally ignored that. He basically stabbed the president and us in the back. What happened yesterday was the people, and I'm going to say a vast majority of people, discovered, in this country discovered, that our voices don't count, right? Our needs and wants, which is usually, I need the government to leave me alone. I need you to listen to me. They don't matter. People don't invade our house. I mean, that's the Capitol building actually is the people's house, and the people came to visit, and four of those people were killed by federal protective security and Capitol Hill cops. In fact, I'm going to go off on a tangent. I'll get back to what I was talking about. The woman who was shot, yeah, in some ways it is, but there's a bright spot, and I'll get to that. The woman who was shot, Ashley Babbitt, was an Air Force veteran. Her last text, one of the last things she said to her husband was, "We're here, we're going." He said, "Be safe, I need you." You know, and then they find out that she was the one shot. When you look at the video, you can see the cop. You can't really see his face, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you're walking down the street in DC, you would know who that guy was. Okay, I'm not kidding. Anyway, he just point blank shoots her. No reason, she was unarmed. He just point blank shoots her. And when you're looking down the hallway and see other cops, they act like they're being invaded by a foreign army. This is what DC thinks of you, okay? They don't care about the people outside of the Beltway or the New York, DC corridor. They only care about that, and they care about Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, and Chicago, and that's about fucking it. That's it. And then they don't really care about those places because those people that live in those places are worse off than we are, okay? Now, what did we learn yesterday? That we don't mean anything. Our votes don't count. They don't want to listen to us. They won't hear us. They won't listen. That, you know, I don't know what you're talking about, Bobby. Just that we are nothing but peons to them. Now we've got Facebook suspending the president until there's a peaceful transition of power. I mean, what the fuck? Here's the thing. Everybody on social media saw his message, which Twitter deleted. And then Twitter banned him for 12 hours because he told everybody to go home in peace. You know, now we've got that insatiable asshole, Chuck Schumer, wanting to remove him immediately. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think banning people is going to stop this? It's going to make it worse. I agree with Sticks and Hammer. It is going to make it far worse. And not for the people they think it's going to make worse. It's going to be made worse for them. Okay? Because this is going to get ugly. Okay? Before it gets better. All right? They're talking about using the 25th Amendment to remove. I mean, why? He's got 2 weeks, you fuckers. Just let it fucking go. And if you didn't want riots, you should have let the process play out, you fuckers. But you didn't. So here we are. Okay? You know, I'm sick of the Chuck Schumers. I'm sick of the Nancy Pelosi's. I'm sick of, now we got this Warnock who basically looks around at white people and calls us the devil. Thanks, Georgia. And I'll tell you something else. It doesn't help when Lynn Wood spews all this stuff. You got, Sidney Powell running around talking about the Kraken. What fucking Kraken? Where is it? You were threatening this for weeks, months, and now where is it? I am done with these people. I mean, we have an illegitimate government. To the people, running around screaming about secession, it doesn't work. All right, it's not going to work. All right, there has to be something where they have to listen to us and give us what we want. Well, there is evidence of voter fraud. We all know that. And I'll tell you something else. Here's one of the things that absolutely drives me crazy. Now, we have evidence that Antifa did infiltrate the riots or the protests. They're the ones that were probably in the front of the group that invaded the Capitol building. They're the ones, but you've got cops opening the gates up for them. I don't know what's going on. Carl, but let me finish this. But when you look at the pictures of people in the building, some are definitely Antifa. Some are definitely MAGA. Okay, so quit sitting around saying we're innocent. Here's the deal. Sedition and insurrection began the day Donald Trump was elected president in the first place. They set all this fucking up. They couldn't handle it. They have treated him like shit from the get-go. They've actually treated him worse than Abraham Lincoln was treated. Okay? And the country was definitely divided then. There's a definite no shit division. So this shit's been going on, and it wasn't us. But now, it's been joined. Okay? It's been joined. And it's going to get ugly. It's going to be very, very ugly. MAGA lost 4 people yesterday. Ashley Babbitt and 3 other guys in the Capitol building. If they didn't want a rallying cry for patriots all across the country, then they should have just let people come in and talk to the congressman. They weren't going in there to hurt anybody. All right? They wanted to walk in and talk to the congressman. And, that's what the Capitol building is for. Hey, Pocket, is to air your grievances. I talked about this yesterday on Facebook. The last day I was in the Capitol building, I was a former employee, but I was invited to the speaker's party, a Christmas party. back when Dennis Hastert was speaker, and because I worked for Dick Armey, I went and I left my job at the executive branch, drove across town, drove over to the Capitol, parked my car over by Tortilla Coast, which is because of the COVID lockdowns is no longer there. Many great memories of margaritas and getting drunk off my ass with my friends there, and walk in and hung out with the gang from the office. Everybody was starting to talk about the new jobs they were getting or jobs they were interviewing for and stuff like that. And Army came over and talked to us for a long time. And then he went, J.D. Hayworth came by. The speaker sat down and talked to us, which was like, back then I thought he was cool. I mean, there's some funny stories about Hastert, but now I found out he was a pervert. All right. Anyway, so I got up and I said goodbye to everybody, see you around, and went out to the rotunda. Now the rotunda's got, you look all the way up and there's stairs. You can see the stairs going up to the top where the statue is on top. It's beautiful in there. It's just, it's almost like it's walking into a church, to be honest. And it was dark. Security kind of walked by, but they don't make any sound. Capitol Hill cops, aka Keystone cops. And I sat down at one of the benches because your bench is around. And it was quiet. And you'd be surprised at the things you hear when it's absolutely silent. It's haunted. I know it's haunted. I believe in ghosts, so if you think I'm nuts, bite me. George Washington, I know he didn't go there, but Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, John Quincy Adams, John Adams, because I think he showed up there a few times after he was president, John C. Calhoun, all these tremendous patriots, Andrew Jackson, all these tremendous names in history. And, Teddy Roosevelt, and Ronald Reagan. And they were there. They're watching. They're silent sentinels. So it kind of humbles you to be sitting there. It really, really does. But then there's something else. And I determined after sitting there quietly that it was the voice of the people, which was at the time, in 2002, kind of a meow. December of 2002, it's kind of a meow. Very quiet, but it was there. Sometimes that voice would be allowed to be part of the thing, but you can tell it had been silently ignored and silently shut down for decades, ever since Woodrow Wilson. Yesterday, the voice of the people roared. 80 million Americans tried to have their say, and they shut us fucking down. Okay? They shut us fucking down. And all those guys who walked into the house they own, because I'm going to tell you something. You, as an American, have every right to go into that building and talk to a congressman, talk to a senator, air your grievances. You do. That is your right as an American. No right at all to tell you can't. Okay? And yesterday they told you didn't have the right to do that. Look what happened. And then they're threatening the president now. You got one GOP congressman going, we should remove him. Chuck Schumer, they're threatening with 25th Amendment, la-di-da, all this bullshit. And I'm like, you know what? You guys are opening up a whole can of worms. You'll never, the genie's already out of the bottle, okay? It's not going back in. And it's going to get worse. There's more coming out. Because you can't disenfranchise 80 million people, I'm rounding up here, and expect us to go, okay, we'll take it in the ass, like we always do. And this has been coming for a long time. I'm going to tell you something, Americans. I'm going to tell you Democrats who don't want to hear this. None of those people on Capitol Hill, regardless if they're Republican or Democrat, give a flying fuck about you. They don't care. Yeah, they want to. They can't wait 12 days. I mean, because I think they're scared. Let me tell you something. To me, I don't care if it was Antifa or if it was MAGA or both. All right? The MAGA guys were actually stopping Antifa from defacing things, by the way. We put the fear of God in these people, which is why they're lashing out. Okay? And that's a good thing. Fear is a motivator. Now, fear can motivate people to do stupid things, which is they're being irrational. Or fear can actually make them go, maybe we should actually shut the fuck up and listen to these people once. Okay? All we asked was that the votes be counted properly. And no one gave a shit. Our Supreme Court didn't give a shit. Our representatives don't give a shit. Hell, here in Pennsylvania, we have a loser goddamn jackass, worthless motherfucking Democrat, and a loser goddamn jackass worthless fucking rhino senator. Guess what? We, the people of Pennsylvania, have no Senate representation at all. But we're all supposed to be happy with, the swamps and big dildo shoved up our ass, which is what they're doing. But we scared the shit out of them. Okay? And, the military ain't going to get involved. They're not going to come and rescue them. Joe Biden, I'll tell you something else. A lot of those active duty military guys are Trump supporters. A lot of those guys were disenfranchised too. How do you think they feel? We're talking about a guy who basically sacrificed his business and his good name to run for president. An outsider. Who won? Talk about a guy who ended endless wars, which the establishment didn't want to end, because your sons and daughters are mere cannon fodder. They don't give a shit about them. George W. Bush crying at a funeral for a 19-year-old kid shot in Iraq, those are crocodile tears. Those are fake. You don't fucking care about those people. Yeah, they are scared, and they're lashing out right now. They should probably reconsider. Well, a coalition like that, and then the rest of us are, are saying fuck you. I don't really well, I'll go back to what I was saying. This guy went back and he brought those kids home, brought your friends home, if you're an active duty military guy or veteran, from useless wars. Why did we get into Iraq? It was part of Saddam knew about and trained for people for 9/11. No, he didn't. When I went into Iraq, Bush was pissed off that Saddam tried to kill Daddy. Okay, there are definitely different ways you could have handled Saddam, but instead we went in there full bore. 2003. It's 2020. We have been, let's see, in Iraq. Now we're leaving since 2003. Okay, trust me. The moment Biden can, he'll send the troops right back, and I would love it if every troop out there that didn't want to go just mutinied. All right, cross the line and said, we're MAGA. We're out of here. Fuck you. You want to go fight in Iraq, send Hunter. I wouldn't be surprised. But again, the war pig generals, all right, the military industrial complex that Dwight Eisenhower warned us about are running full steam ahead. They didn't want Trump. They didn't want to see their, all these war pig generals sit on boards of like Boeing and, General Dynamics, all these big military defense industry companies. And he basically unleashed the beast in our economy by deregulating. Horrible. What a horrible thing. People have jobs. We're bringing manufacturing back to the United States. That's a bad thing. The average person in the United States, black, white, red, yellow, purple, chartreuse spots, shouldn't be allowed to have a job. You know? Shouldn't be allowed to have a job. How dare you think that your livelihood is more important than, some Chi-Coms peon making a nickel a day, making garbage, okay? Which is what they make, all right? How dare they? I mean, Trump, put a chink in their little plot, their little scheme, and they couldn't stand it, okay? He dared to shake the tree. And I'll tell you something else. I think yesterday, despite all the bad news, was actually a wake-up call for people that, to really what their government is about. Don't give a shit about you. Okay? Now, I've got a good congressman, but he's only one voice. Okay? He was one of the guys that actually spoke out about decertifying the Pennsylvania vote. All right? But what in the scheme of things, one guy, 5 guys, 100 guys in that cesspool, they're not going to mean anything. They're not going to matter. Okay? So I'm like, something's got to give. Okay? And it's not going to be secession. So anybody going out there saying that, you're an idiot and you're acting out of passion. But something does have to give. These Democrats, they're starting to learn a lesson, but it's got to be a solid lesson. So they back off and never do it again. Something has to be done. I don't know how. Here's the deal. We've been abandoned. Your Congress doesn't care about you. They don't stand with you. The courts don't care or stand with you. Corporations have never stood with you. Here's the girl, eat it or fuck off. The only person who gives a shit about the American people, even the ones that hate him, is Donald Trump. I want you to think about that. And that's the truth. Don't give a shit what you think when I say that. Hey, Birdie, but that's the truth. All right? I never understood the outright hatred when the country was doing so well. I mean, look at the peace deals we've got in the Middle East. These motherfuckers, I don't care who ran in 2016, would have never been able to do what Trump did because he didn't follow the regular beaten path. He went off and did something different. And Morocco, we've got the United Arab Emirates, there's some others coming on board. They were all for it, but he's a bad guy. Peace is bad with Israel. Oh my God. Yeah, he should, and, they're not going to let him go in peace either. They're not going to, they're terrified. What I worry about is someone hurting him. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you guys want to see something get really ugly really fast, some Antifa or some thug does something really, really stupid. Okay? Then the shit will get real. Okay? Then the stuff that went on yesterday in DC, it'll be 20 million times worse. None of these people, I mean, but like I said, no one gives a shit about you. No one. Except for Donald Trump. And they treat him like that, they treat us worse. Okay? So, the next 4 years, we have an illegitimate government unless something can be done before then. They go after us. I mean, they're not going to... Here's the deal. January 20th, the President Asterisk, who's going to end up in about a month or two giving his seat up to that fucking cunt, Kamala Harris, you know, they're gonna come after us. They're not gonna let Trump leave in peace. They want to see him in jail for what? I don't know. What did he do? What? He fucking did nothing. There's no proof of anything. But you know what? They don't give a shit. They make it up. And I'm gonna say this. The person at the root of all this, the one that went out of his way to congratulate that fat pig, that ugly, bloated, fucking human tick, Stacey What's-Her-Face in fucking Georgia, Barack Obama, he is the fucking asshole behind all this. He was the one that made sure Abrams and the rest of them had all their little ducks in a row. Because he's been doing it in Chicago for years. Okay? Yeah, Stacey Abrams. All right? He's ultimately the one. All right? He's a hateful, vindictive, ugly toad of a man. Okay? And he will go to great lengths to hurt anybody who's fucked with him. Okay? My advice to you guys, silent protest. Ignore them. Well, if they impeach him, he can't. Okay, and they're trying to do that right now. All right, though, I think if they try that again, we're going to see tomorrow worse. I mean, and I'll tell you something. I worked in the Capitol building. You can't defend that place. You can't. You know, you can't defend it. And if a bunch of guys show up, we have like, all right, between 1 and 2 million people show up, and there are guys that aren't showing up. They're going to be right back in the Capitol building. They're going to be right back in there, and they won't leave this time. And there's nothing anybody could do about it. I'm just telling you right now, that's what's going to happen. Because this thing ain't done. And the Democrats want to push and push and push and push. They have no idea that they are making it worse for themselves, because ultimately they're the ones who are going to lose. This is dictated by human nature. There's only so far you can push somebody before they like go ballistic. It's dictated by karmic blowback. It's dictated by history. Okay? All right? Now, were those guys, and like I said, I don't care if they were Antifa, MAGA, or a mix. The fact that those fuckers were hiding behind their chairs, I mean, what'd they think? None of those guys had guns. The cops did. Ashley Babbitt found out real big. Fucker shot her right in the neck. You know? Oh yeah, Brucey. Yeah. And there's gonna be, I think the tipping point has already happened. I think the only place it can go is downhill, in my opinion. But anyway, I don't know what else Trump can do. He can't, you know, I mean, we know fraud existed, but Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood are just, God. Giuliani is not an election lawyer. He's not he doesn't do election law. He's a prosecutor. There's nothing that anybody can do. All right? But we can make Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's lives miserable. We can make them miserable. We can ignore them. We can, you know, tell them to fuck off, ignore any laws they pass. You know, just ignore them and go out and protest mightily every time. Everywhere they go, follow them around. You know, they'll be like the Grateful Dead of assholes, and we'll just, you know, band together and follow them around and make their lives. I mean, make their lives miserable. I mean, they asked for it. Yeah, but bucket, what does that mean? I mean, you're in Pennsylvania. That doesn't matter. I mean, our votes don't count anymore. They took our most precious right away. And they're telling us to shut the fuck up. They're telling us what we know happened didn't happen. Okay. Oh, yeah, Franklin. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by the jellyfish, spineless Republicans. I'm not. I've got a good congressman. Scott Perry's great. But our Magnified. Oh yeah, I mean, they want rioting. They haven't seen rioting yet. All right, they haven't seen it. I mean, and I mean it. I mean, people are pissed, and they're getting more and more pissed. Threatening the president is a dumb thing to do, a really stupid thing. All right. The power of the government is derived from the consent of the governed. We do not give you consent to govern us if you're going to do that. If you're going to be illegitimate, you will be treated as illegitimate. You are not my president. You are not my vice president. Fuck off. Okay? All right. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. All right. Anyway. Come and talk a little bit about this because I was thinking, and I gotta tell you something, Mike Pence. Oh, happy Orthodox Christmas to you, Anastasia. Well, Anastasia, we've been through worse, to be honest. Our Civil War, I live, 20, 30 miles away from Gettysburg. Turning point in that war was a hell of a lot worse. Okay? I don't know what's going to happen, but the Democrats opened up themselves a whole can of whoop-ass. The genie is out of the bottle now. We got 4 dead Americans. Probably at least one I know is MAGA. Probably all 4 of them in the Capitol building, shot by the Gestapo there. And I mean, the video of Babbitt being shot. I mean, I can see the guy's got. It looks like, I hate to say this. It looks like in his hands it's either a Glock 42 or 43. It's definitely not a service pistol at all. It's not a big. It's one you can hide in your jacket. It's a concealed one. He's got that out. It could be a Springfield Hellcat. Hell, it could even be a SIG 365. But I can see if trust me, if you watch that video of her being shot, and you can see just the part, you can see his profile, very short, crooked hair. You'll recognize the guy. You'll recognize the guy. The DC National Guard, they just came over that they were gonna mobilize it for 30 days. So you guys, guess what? I guess we're the new hippies. We're anti-war, anti-National Guard, anti-military industrial complex. We're probably for the end of the war on drugs. We're probably, you know what I'm saying? We're the new free speech movement, babies. We should have our own Woodstock. Seriously. Anyway, I gotta go. My voice is now dissipating, but want to talk to y'all and just say, hey, get ready. But I'm gonna tell you something. Seeing those fuckers hide behind their chairs was awesome. Okay? I want them to be afraid of us. I really, really do. They should be. Thomas Jefferson said, "The government that is not afraid of its citizens, that is tyranny. The government that is afraid of its citizens, there's liberty. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid." Because we're not. What was that? And that is from, Thomas Jefferson. Okay. Have a good day. No real Star Wars news, though I do know there are a bunch of announcements coming soon. I'm gonna have to go look on some of the rumor sites and just see what's happening. But have a good day. Peace out, buddies. And let not your heart be troubled. Okay? Let not your heart be troubled. Signing out. See you around the galaxy.